Hey everyone, apologize for the lighting. It is in the afternoon and it is dark and dreary and raining outside, so for the life of me, I could not get lighting in the house. So I guess we'll have to deal with that. Yes, I did mean to say 50 Shades of Grey, but I don't mean it as in like the book 50 Shades of Grey. It just registered in my mind. I was driving in my car and I'm like, it was kind of when I was struggling and I was like, man, I wish a diet could just be black and white. This is good, this is bad. When you cross that line, then you know you've gone too far. But, as we know in life, it tends to just be that slippery slope. And then all of a sudden you finally catch yourself in the bottom and you're like, dang, how did I end up here? And that's where I kind of got the ideas is like, okay, so we know this is bad. And we know that this is good, but what about all this in between? What's okay and what's not? What's too much? So it's like, can I give a little bit and still be keto, or do I have to be like full keto? Because we have these ideas of perfection, or like when we're kids, there's the good guy and there's the bad guy. There's no in between. That's just how they are. And as we get older, we learn that people are not good or bad. There's just good and bad qualities in one person. So the same thing with a diet is that it's not a good diet or a bad diet. There's just those little, there's all these shades of gray. And where do we fit in? When is it too much? When have we crossed that line that was okay, this is working for me versus this is too much. At first, I'm going to do keto and I'm going to be so strict and I'm going to do that. And then one day you have cake and you're like, okay, well, that's one day. So I'm mostly keto. And then, maybe it's like 2 days, or then you start adding more carbs and it's like, okay. And then eventually you're like, I don't even think I am keto anymore. And I want to talk about what's okay, what's not, what you're comfortable with, where it isn't. First of all, I think for you, the whole idea is keto, and this idea of perfect and not perfect they're good things to observe, but for the majority of us, it's not something that's going to be achievable. I don't know many people who want to eat perfectly keto every day, all the time, and say I'm going to give up sweets for the rest of my life. I don't know many people who want to keep to that or say that they could. I mean, ideally, I would love that. I would love to say I will never eat another piece of cake in my entire life. Do I feel like that's really doable for myself? Probably not. So, it's like having this, okay, this is, the ultimate, but where am I willing to live within these shades? And that's where I think it's important to experiment, but how far should one experiment? Because it's like you were in keto, you were in this okay, and then all of a sudden we've shifted a little bit too far towards that other end of the scale. And that's where I think you're going to have to learn for yourself that, I love watching YouTube videos. I love learning about other people's success, but sometimes I get too many ideas. And instead of keeping with what I'm doing, I start moving to what other people are doing. And when I do that, that's when I get this slippery slope. Like I'm eating a certain way, and then all of a sudden someone's like, oh, you should try, more cheese, or, oh, fat bombs are better, or I do more fat, or, it goes on. It goes on and on and on. It could be whatever. And I think, well, that's cool. Or like, I want to eat cheese. I like cheese. And then all of a sudden I realize I'm eating cheese, and then I'm no longer losing weight. And I'm like, oh, maybe I need to go back to what I was doing. So, it's nice to get some ideas. It's nice to be like, oh, I like salmon. That would be good to add in here and there. But finding that place where you've gone too far, and you'll learn it through experience by living your life, but then knowing, some people can get way down there on that list and be okay. Like, for instance, I know people who can eat keto treats. I am not one of those people, because when I have a keto treat, I want more keto treats. And then I don't want to eat any of the nutritious food that I've set out. But if I do more meat and vegetables and just plain old good healthy fats, if I keep it simple, I really enjoy that. I don't crave sweets. But the second I start doing like mug cakes every day or like almond butters, things that are just really tasty to me, then all I can think about is the next time I'm going to have almond butter or the next time I'm going to have chocolate. And it's really easy to get me into those deeper shades. And what made me think of that too is, I used to take art classes and I do a lot of shading and stuff, and you're contouring and you have to have that light and dark and the contrast. And there's all these shades of gray that you're creating for depth. And so it's great because, with a picture just plain black and white, it's nice, it's pretty. But when you take shape or you contour, it becomes more 3D. It looks more real. And that's what I feel like your diet should be. It's not just one dimension, it's multiple dimensions, but making sure it's a place where you feel comfortable and identifying that place to know when you've gone past the line, you have gone too far for yourself. So in the beginning of keto, I think you need to stick to that more perfection mark and nail that. And once you have keto down, that's when you start experimenting. See, people get it wrong in the beginning. They try and experiment, and you have no baseline. It's no baseline. It's like taking a scientist and they have no control. You have to have, it's called a control, and then you experiment against that control to see how well it's working against the control. So if you don't have any baseline, then you don't know what the heck you're doing. You're just messing around. And that's the other thing why people say, I'm not losing weight. You're changing way too much. You have no base. You're not starting from anywhere. You're just starting everywhere. And that's why people flip-flop diets, because they think it's if I low fat and then high fat and then this and then that. And they're never just committing to something. So when I started keto, I committed for 2 months. I said, for 2 months, I'm going to eat this way. I don't care if it kills me. I don't care if I lose a pound. This is the way I'm going to eat for 2 months. And then I will reevaluate. And because I did that, I had a baseline. I knew exactly. I didn't experiment with cheese. I had no cheese. I didn't experiment with the nut butters or desserts. I ate simple and basic for 2 months. And then I started adding things in. And then I knew, because I had done weeks where it was work, I could prove to myself if I ate this way, I would lose weight. And I dropped 35 pounds in that 2 months. And then it slowed up as I added things back in. And then I know if I need to cut weight quickly, I know exactly how to do that. I know how to drop 5 pounds like that in a week, because I've learned what works for my body because I did it over and over and over. How do you learn something? It's through repetition. But if you can't even have 1 good week, how can you expect to have 10? I knew if I could have 10 good weeks of solid weight loss, that I could get another 10. And if I had 10, it could be 20. If it was 20, it was 30. And that's how I knew I could make this into a lifetime, because I didn't have to guess. I took out the guesswork of how to lose weight. I know how to lose weight. It's a matter of, am I willing to do that? Am I willing to do what it takes? And that, my friends, is what changes this whole diet into a life plan. And that's where you get happy. That's where you get motivated. That's where you know you can do this for the rest of your life. So that is one of the greatest things I could ever leave you with. And I hope that helps you. Comment, subscribe, like, share, whatever you want to do. But thanks for listening, guys, and I'll see you next time.